In the Parsha of Bo, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu that one of the purposes of the Makos in Mitzrayim is in order that Leman Tesaper Bazne Bincho Ben Bincho Es Asher Savalti BeMitzrayim. The word Lesaper has several translations, as we have noted. The simple verb Lesaper means to tell a story, Sipur. But the word Lesaper also has another intention, and here clearly the intention is that one is obligated to say Shevach Vodot Hashem Yisbarach. One is obligated to praise Hashem for His handiwork that came about as a result of the Makos in Mitzrayim. As a matter of fact, we see a bit later in Perek Gimel, the Torah says at the end of the Parsha, "V'higadeto lebincha bayom hahu lemor ba'avur ze asa Hashem li b'tzeisim Mitzrayim." This is a mitzvah say. This is a positive commandment, otherwise known as Sipu Yitzias Mitzrayim B'leil Chamishasa B'Nisan, as the Rambam writes in Hilchos Chametzu Matzah. What exactly is the lekach that one is supposed to derive from the Nisim of Mitzrayim? So the Ramban, in this week's Parsha, one of the most famous Rambans in Chumash, he writes, Shemen Anisim Hagdolim HaMufursamim, from the public miracles that took place in Egypt, Adam Yodeh B'Nisim HaNistorim Shein Yisod HaTorah Kula. If one acknowledges public miracles that Hashem does, overt miracles, then one will certainly be cognizant as well of the Nisim HaNistorim, of the hidden miracles, which of course are on an ongoing basis that the Rebbeinu Shalom constantly, 24/7, is involved with Nisim Nistorim Shein Yisod HaTorah Kula. But then the Ramban expresses himself with even greater chabifus, and he says, Ein la'adam chelek b'Toras Moshe Rabbeinu. A person does not have a share in the Torah of Moshe. At shenamin b'chol dvareinu mikreinu shekulam nisim. Everything that happens, the Ramban says, is nes, is miraculous. Ein behem teva min hagu shalom. There's no such thing as nature. Bein barabim ben b'yochid. Whether we're talking about a collective, a large group of people, or individuals. And the Ramban goes on to say, Ela, im yaseh hamitzvos yatzlichenu scharo. A person who performs mitzvahs properly, punctiliously, devotedly, there's no question he will be the recipient of compensation. V'im yavra aleim, and if chas v'sholom, if he transgresses, yachrisenu ansho, hakol b'gzeras elyon, kasher hiskarti kvar. I just took a short little piece, what you call a blip, of the Ramban, a précis of the Ramban at the end of Parshas Bo. Another Ramban is telling us that the Torah is, in effect, making a clear statement. If a person carries out the Ratzon Hashem, he'll be zochet to parnasa, he'll be zochet to health, he'll be zochet to everything. If lahefech, chas v'sholom, a person does not carry out the Ratzon Hashem, Rachmana litzlan, the results will be catastrophic. Is this built into Chuki HaTeva? Is this something which is part of the architecture of nature? Of course not. So in effect, what is the nature of this haftacha? What is the nature of this promise that Hashem Yisbarach is telling us? So the answer, of course, is that Chuki HaTeva, unlike what people think. People are accustomed to think that what is Koveya? What determines exactly what happens? The answer is there are immutable laws of nature that are built into Hashem, into the universe, and these are the immutable laws of nature that essentially are Koveya, that determine what exactly is going to happen. That is a complete and total, shall we say, statement of skullduggery. What is Koveya? The Gzera of Hashem Yisbarach is Koveya. And we see that what happened in Egypt, that the Teva, nature, is completely subordinate to the Gzera of Hashem Yisbarach. The entire, shall we say, the whole span of the Parshas of Shmos, Va'era and Bo indicate that. Namely, that if there's a need, Hashem simply does away with natural law and ignores it. And this apparently is one of the maskanas that one should come to in terms of the nisim that occurred in Egypt. Hashem does not have any impediments to carrying out His gzera and bringing them to fruition, even if they are antithetical to natural law, even if they contradict Chuki HaTeva, which of course are built into the very architecture of the universe. B'derech klal, Hashem does not want to, shall we say, engage in any kind of move that will undo, that will refute, that will undermine and impugn Chuki HaTeva. Hashem wants to work within nature, within the natural laws of the universe that He created. But from time to time, there's a need for Hashem Yisbarach to, shall we say, disabuse us of a notion that many people have, namely that everything is nature. There's natural law, and that's it. And there's a need to us to realize that that's not the case. In other words, Teva does not at all block the Rebbeinu Shalom from doing that which he has to do, from carrying out his wishes, and everything, of course, depends on Gzeras Elyon and not Chuki HaTeva. Chuki HaTeva are not, shall we say, even though they're immutable and built into the very architecture of the universe, at the end of the day, it's Rebbeinu Shalom who's directing traffic. He's the one who is responsible for everything. And that's a fundamental maskana. And the Ramban says, Mi she'eino moda bazeh, ein lo chelek b'Toras Moshe Rabbeinu. Wow, what a statement. He has no chelik in the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. At shenamin b'chol dvareinu mikreinu shekula misin. Ein b'hem teva u'minhagu shel olam bein berabim bein b'yachid. I once heard from a Devasol Shlita the following. Based on a Rashi at the end of Parshas Vayera. The Torah says at the end of Parshas Vayera, in the context of Borod, hail. So the Torah tells us, V'apishta v'asora dukasa, ki asora aviv v'apishta gibol. No, the Pishtim and the Sorim were broken through the hail, through the Makkah of Baran. Why? Because since they, as the Torah describes, their growth was early, and therefore the Baran went ahead, somehow their Givolim were able to somehow already grow to a point where they were somewhat hardened. They were Nishbar Bebaran. However, V'achita v'kusemes lo nuku, ki afilo seina. They were not affected. Chit and kusemes. Why? Ki afilos seina. Namely, says Rashi on the spot, afilos meuchar yoser, afilos miloshen meucharos. Their growth was delayed, and therefore, when the bird came down, they were still soft. And as a result, they were able to somehow withstand the hail, and they were not broken. That's the Pshuto Shel Mikra. That's what Rashi says. Now Rashi comes along and adds the following: Uvemerish Rabbi Tanchuma. Yesh me'abosenu shenechleku azos v'darshu ki afilos. What is the lashon of afilos? Says Rashi. Pilei plos nasu lahem. Rashi compares the language of afilos to pilei plos. I remember when I used to hear Harav Shradron Tzadzal. I used to hear him on Friday night in 1971-72. Tafshin Lamed Al, Tafshin Lamed Beis. Every Friday night we used to go to hear him. Once in Yiddish and once in Hebrew. And there were all the Chayes HaKodesh, all the little Yerushalmi people, the little Yerushalmi chaps, who were literally in the scaffolding of where he spoke, in the shuls and the like. And after he finished, they would imitate him when they would walk out and dance in the streets, and he used to often utilize the following expressions. After the drasha, they would say, and the drasha was literally a fulfillment of that, Pilei pluyim neire neirus, hafli vafeli. That's what they would imitate him. I hope they understood the drasha in order to make that kind of a statement. But whatever the case is, Rashi here tells you, afilos pilei plos nasulem shelo loku. There's a reason why achita v'kusemes lo nuku. The answer is, that is pilei plos. And that's the pshat, afilos seina, afilos pilei plos. What a chiddush that Rashi is telling us. Of course, the first pshat in Rashi seems quite logical. That namely, ki afilos seina, what does that mean? That they were delayed. That is a very logical position, correct? The word actually afil, aleph, pei, yud, lamed, appears in Shas a number of times. Where? In Tainis, in the first parak. In Ma'ikot, in the first parak. The end of Chagiga. It appears a number of times. This term, Aleph, Pei, Yud, Lamed. But it always means late, delayed. So why does Yesh Me'abosenu Shenechleku Azos? How does one explain the second part of Rashi? And furthermore, if you're going to darshan afilos, the way Rashi says, Pilei plos, why do you say Pilei plos? Why not plos? What's Pilei plos? So I heard from Rav Devin Sol Shlita the following explanation. He said The Yesh Rabbeinu, the second explanation of Rashi, they had difficulty with the following kasha. What were the Makos of Mitzrayim? What were they for? The way the Ramban said a second ago, namely, Laharos, to teach us, Shekol Dvareinu Mikreinu Kula Nisin, Ein B'hem Teva Menogah Shalom. There's no Teva, there's no nature. Everything operates because of the Gzeira of Hashem Yisbarach. So therefore the question, of course, is, what's going on? The Torah says that Chita Kusemes were not broken by the bara because they were delayed in their growth, and they're very soft. That Hezber is based on what? Teva. That seems to be an explanation which is founded upon nature and how nature operates. That is the very antithesis, according to the Ramban, of all the Makos. HaKadosh Baruch Hu certainly has the capacity to break the Chita and the Kusemes despite their, shall we say, rakus, despite their softness, despite their pliability. So, in terms of the entire Maracha Makos, that the whole idea is, according to the Ramban, to show that Hashem could defy Teva, what exactly is going on over here? Why is it that all of a sudden we are now taking nature into account, and we're not breaking the Chita B'Kusemes because of this somehow natural kind of bulwark that it has against the bara? So therefore Rashi says, Yesh Rabbeinu, they were not maskim to the simple husband. That Chita B'Kusemes were not spitting because of their softness, but they explained it differently. Namely, Afilo Seina, says Rashi, Pile Plos Nasu Lahem. In other words, what happened? Pele B'tok Pele. That's the double ocean of Pile Plos. What's Pele B'tok Pele? Barad. What does Barad consist of? Eish Mislakachat B'Seicha Barad. We have fire and water. Generally speaking, water tends to extinguish fire. That did not happen. Another Pele. Hachita v'akusemes lo nuku, despite the fact we would have expected that the bara should have completely destroyed them, one Pele, and now we have another Pele. So according to this explanation, the pasuk is not giving you a natural hesber why chita akusemes lo nuku, namely because of their softness. Pum faker. The Torah is telling you about an additional Pele that took place, namely in the midst of this makapilis and Makkah that was unnatural in nature, which was of course designed to what? To undo the emunah b'chuki hateva. The Torah decided, and Hashem Yisbarach decided, at least one, shall we say, there has to be one residue of teva that should remain. Namely, sha'achita v'akusem is lo nuku b'glal v'akusa. In order to maintain that postulate, that yesod, regarding nature and how Hashem operates. We know the Gemara actually has a famous Gemara in the Maseches Tainis on Daf Chafei, where the Gemara tells about the story here of Rab Chanina ben Dosa, that accidentally there was a tos that occurred, and she mixed up a kli of shemen with a kli of chometz, a kli of oil with a kli of vinegar, and she was able to light Neros of Shabbos. Her father said, what difference does it make? Nisha Amar L'Shemen v'Yidolek, Yom L'Chometz v'Yidolek. The same one who said that oil should light, he'll tell vinegar to go ahead and light. And the Gemara said that's exactly what happened. Till Motzei Shabbos, the Ner actually was lit. Why was Rab Chanina Zocheh to such a nes? So Rav Desla, Zatzal, writes in the Chelik Aleph and Michtav Eliyahu, when I studied in Yeshiva Nitri, there are only two chalokim of Michtav Eliyahu. Those are only two chalokim that I recognize. There are many chalokim that I unfortunately have not come around to yet. So in Chelik Aleph he brings that the reason for that is because what is Teva? He says, Kach L'shonu Hazov. HaTeva eino elo achizas einayim la'odom. Teva is only sleight of hand. It's to test a person, to see if he believes the fact that only Hashem is the one who directs traffic. Because perhaps he may ascribe kochos to all kinds of other bruin, other nivroim. So whoever was omed in this nisayon, and he understands that ain't no milvado, and there's no distinction whether we're talking about shemen or we're talking about chometz, so there's no longer any need to operate with him b'derech hateva, because he already got the message. He already understands that ein hateva v'lo klum, and therefore with him you could be noeg Shelo K'derech HaTeva, and to go ahead and make a nes, even when there's no tzarech miyuchad for such a nes. Wow, what a yesod about Tesla. And perhaps we'll just end by mentioning also the famous kasha of the Beis Yosef. The Beis Yosef is the kasha, why were Chazal kovea 8 days of Hanukkah and not 7? It would seem, the Gemara says actually here in Shabbos, that there was enough oil to last for 1 day in the Mikdash, so therefore the nes was only 7 days and not 8 days. The famous kasha of the Beis Yosef. There are many tirutzim. There's a whole sefer of tirutzim devoted to that question. But Rav Simcha Zissel Mikelm, the altar of Kelm, Hasaba Mikelm, he provides the following explanation. He said, really, there's no reason that one should become misragesh from the nes of Parshemen, because the one who said that it should be nidlak yom echad, he said it should be nidlak shmona yomim for 8 days. That's another portion. But things that we become accustomed to, we don't get very excited about them, and we don't realize what's happening. Masha'enken, when a person sees a nes, when a person sees a davar chadash, when he sees a overt suspension of nature, so then he's mispoiled. Then he realizes that this came about through the handiwork of Hashem's Baruch. That's exactly the Ramban's Yisod over here at the end of Parshas Bo, that mitoch nisim gluyim, a person will understand as well that even Teva is the Gzera of Hashem's Baruch. And that's why Chazal were misaking to be madlik nes Chanukah, ner Chanukah, even on the first day where there was no nes, because as a result of the nes that took place in the subsequent days, then this Hakara is, shall we say, strengthened. That even beyond Rishon, the Shemen does not light by itself in a natural kind of way, but rather only because of the Gzera of Hashem's Baruch. So the one who said that the Shemen should light for a period of 7 days, he's the same one who said that the Shemen should light beyond Rishon. So if that's the case, what is the difference between Nes and Teva? The difference is that Teva is among the phenomena that we become accustomed to. We become habituated to Teva. And Nisim are phenomena that we're not habituated to, we're not accustomed to. We generally assume that when you sow chitim, so what emerges? Chitim. As it should. And when you sow sorim, barley, what emerges? Sorim. That's Teva. On the other hand, if a person were to be involved in the sowing of sorim, and let's say apples emerged as a result of sowing sorim, we would say that's a nes. We're not accustomed to this kind of phenomena. There's a pasuk in Tehillim, David HaMelech says, "V'yotzitzu meir ke'esev ha'aretz." So it's a Gemara Sanhedrin. Sometimes, Achman al-Litzlan, and there occur such cases, not often, where I, from time to time, read about such situations. They bury someone, and then they discover the person is still living. Pasuk says, "V'yatzitzu meir ke'esav haaretz." Then, of course, that's obviously a nes. Why is it a nes? Grass grows from the ground. Why shouldn't human beings also grow from the ground? V'yatzitzu meir ke'esav haaretz. The answer is, grass growing from the ground, we see on an ongoing basis, thousands of times, hundreds of years. Someone who passed on, departed from this earth, and suddenly emerges from the ground. That's a rather unusual phenomenon. But there's no distinction between the two. Even though this we call Teva, and this we call Nes, the Yisod of the Ramban is the Yisod of Nisei Mitzrayim. Namely, Mitoch Nisei Mitzrayim, we should come to the Maskana, Sha'akol Nasa B'Gzeras Elyon. Hashem is the one who directs traffic. He controls everything. Ein od milvado. There is no other koach in the world except for Hashem Yisbarach. And the Chuki HaTeva are simply, if you will, Hashem's methodology, how he goes about and doing that which he has to do in this world. So that Hakara, that Hashem directs traffic in the world, Al Pi Chuki HaTeva, but in reality, as the Ramban says here, every single Kol Dvareinu Mikreinu Kulo Nes. Everything is Nes. And the Ramban is of the opinion, clearly, that even though we tend to think that Nisan Gluyim, overt miracles are greater than Nisan Nesarim, Ramban clearly does not agree with that. There's a very nice essay about this in a very beautiful sefer called Rosh where this Yesod actually is discussed by Rav Soloveitchik, and it's really amazing because the world at large, the secular world, and even often sometimes Jews think that, wow, look at that nest that happened. But Chazal, the Gemara tells us in Shabbos, the Gemara speaks about an individual whose wife passed away and he didn't have the ability to nurse the child, and suddenly he developed breasts, and the Gemara has a machlokes there. Wow, what a nest. And the Gemara responds, that's not a nest. That is something where we compel the Rebbeinu Shalom to do something which is neged HaTeva. Rebbeinu Shalom wants to operate the world b'derech HaTeva. But we have to recognize and we have to realize that these Nistarim are built into the, shall we say, into the architecture of the way Hashem directs traffic. Hakol Nes, 24/7, Nisan Nistarim, they are greater than Nisan Gluyim, but we need Nisan Gluyim in order to recognize, in order to underscore the godless of Hashem Yisbarach, His handiwork in the universe, and therefore we should recognize that Teva and Nes are Hainu Hach. There's no distinction between them, and that's the yesod of the Nisan that took place in Mitzrayim.